Alrighty. Hi guys, Dib the Awesome here, and welcome to another 72-hour event challenge of February. This is a reference, voice to the Super Bowl, because the very first monster we will be talking about is Gridon, or Gridon, this football dog. We're going to be talking about all of them. Essentially, there is a secret monster. I will say that there is at every single 72-hour event. There's always been a secret monster of which you may obtain. Uh, and I'm gonna get to that. This is actually a really huge one. I'm gonna get to that. I really am. Uh, and you may have already have him. That's the thing. You might have already had them. That can be said with virtually anybody, or just depending on what you have. But you might have already gotten them in the previous 72-hour event challenge, and you might not. You might know what I'm talking about. Alright, so Gridon, sorry, I just kind of clicked on it here on accident. Gridon, we're going to call him Grid. We're going to call him Grid. So Grid, the reason why he's in the 72-hour event challenge is actually a reference to the Super Bowl that currently went out, I think it's yesterday. Yep, I do believe that was the case. It went out yesterday. I mean, like the Super Bowl. I don't know who actually won. I never really watched it. But the Super Bowl actually was out yesterday. I hope you enjoyed it. I know that's a huge event for football fans. And this is another huge thing. If you're a football fan and stuff like that, and you play this game, this is a cool neat monster to add to your collection. Beyond that, though, not the best competitive monster. not the best one. Compared to X-Bug, he's really lower than X-Bug in terms of moves. He doesn't really do all that much. He's like a single target stun. I don't remember if he has an AoE daze. He might be able to daze, but beyond that, I think he's just damage. Beyond that, that's totally his deal. He's not a bad attacker. He does metal. I think it's his game's metal and earth damage, or it could have been metal and dark. I'm pretty sure it was metal and earth damage though. Beyond that, that's about it. I will say if you can get beyond this, or you get more coins, I highly recommend not getting him. I mean, in terms of just the event's sake, if you can't get anything, I mean, in terms of competitive use, and you can't get Singularious, I highly recommend Singularious over Grid. So let's talk about Singularious. Now, Singularious is actually a premier monster. He never came out in an event before. He's always been, you have to buy him. You always had to buy him and stuff like that. Kind of I don't think it was like Cassia. No, not Cassia, but yeah. This is interesting. Ooh, excuse me. In the fact that you can, I don't know if they've ever done this before, where they've had monsters out in or premium monsters out for events. I know they've done it for Apex. I don't know what anything beyond Apex though. In terms of premium monsters, where the only way you could ever gotten them was by spending 300 or yeah, probably 300 gems on them. Oh, it's also a important thing to note that there's going to be a breeding event, and it's going to have actually another premium monster called Monster Device. So save your breeding temple up for that. I'll get to that later. But we're going to continue talking about Singularious. So Singularious is pretty neat. He's not 100% mainstream deny. He's not, because he has a deny move that's really heavy hitting, but they're always gonna at least get to move once. I mean, that's the thing. So you have to. It's kind of like an extra guy kind of deal. What he excels at is he excels at sponging all your stamina over time. He takes half of your stamina at the moment, and then he does 25%, or he does not 25%. He does stamina leak. So you lose 20 energy per turn. I kind of like this version of I like this kind of deny, or this kind of version of the stamina leak. I mean, this is honestly one of the best ones in terms of just applying stamina leak, and it does this stamina drain too. I really like that. I honestly do. Because you usually see Varna do his stamina leak thing, but he doesn't take initial stamina. This does, and I think it's one of the best ones. It's one of the best. One of the best stamina drains in the game that's not instant, 100% stamina drain. It's not instant, but it's an AoE. It's one of the best. It's one of the better ones. Obviously, 100% is the best, but it's the one. This one is not broken. This one doesn't you can still move. I really think Thedes. I really wish Thedes AoE stamina drain played out like this. It would be more fair. But it isn't. It's best for beat stick meta, or the PvP arena competitive scene. There are two competitive scenes. I'm going to touch bases on that in a video in the future. But yeah, he's really good at that, and he also has an AoE insta-death. He can also do that. So within 4 turns, doesn't matter what they're building, if they're really tanky, they die in 4 turns. Unless they're immune to insta-death. That's the only time you're not killing anything. Currently at the moment, the only real one that's competitive, like the only one I can think of at the moment that's immune to insta-death, that is really, really, really used in competitive play. Like every single, if they have them, they totally use this monster. I think that's Demise. Demise totally, and the occasional Ogma. That's about it. I think that's about it anyway. I think Master Skill 2. Master Skill 2 is also immune to insta-death, I believe. I think so. Don't quote me on that, but I think he is immune to insta-death. So those, in terms of using it on those monsters, not too great. But yeah, I usually put Singularious on stalling teams, to make fullest of his AoEs to the best. Specifically, actually one of his partners is Thetis. Is like his partner, like your partner choices is Thetis, Tomb, anything that can increase the time of them not doing a single thing to you. That's how Singularious plays out. It's actually recommended that you do the AoE stamina drain the first turn, and then you can not on Singularious, of course, not use it on Singularious, but on Thetis, use the AoE stamina drain. Then you use the insta death. Then by next turn, you can do either an AoE freeze, freeze everybody, and then you can do the AoE stamina leak. Just combo that. Now that freezes a chance though. Depending on your other monster, that is, it doesn't have to be a chance. You can for sure guarantee them not moving again. The key to the game is not to let the enemy moves and just let them, like, the turn counter go down. That's how a Singularious plays out. I don't know how great he is in beat stick meta. I really don't. Again, we're talking about like PvP competitive, or PvP arena competitive play. There are two different kinds of competitive play scenes. I'm going to touch base on that on a video. I don't know how he plays out in that kind of scene play, but for like the just overall the other format, which is community competitive, he actually could play out pretty great. So yeah, if you can get this guy, he's all right. He's pretty solid. You kind of have to play around with the comps and stuff like that, but it's really fun. He also can do slow. He can remove positive effects. He can remove, you can put slow on somebody, and he can haste himself. That's also kind of the small things he can do in terms of single target moves. Not the best damage dealer in the game. He has spammable moves, but he's not there to do really damage. He's more so there to watch. And apply stuff. He's an extra guy monster, and he's really nice. He's a really nice one. I don't use him too much. I usually just use him on teams that I like to mess around with, or just like shields. Maybe the occasional Gorin. Bring him with Gorin and have a little fun with that. But that's about it. Right now, at the moment, I build him tanky. That's kind of the thing at the moment. I might do 2 speeds in a life later when I put better runes on him at some point. But that's the point I have with him. Super Tomato. All right, now we're hitting a really interesting topic. Is this a good monster? And I'm going to say, yeah, it really is great. It's pretty close to top. If it's not top tier, it's pretty damn close. It's pretty close. What Super Tomato actually does, he has some similar stuff that other deniers, possessors do. He has an AoE possession. It costs 25% of his life. I don't think that really matters, especially if you're, depending on your comp. Like if you pair it up with like Plymouth, you can use AoE life regen. At that point, it really doesn't matter. If you have if you can patch that, if you have like AoE life regen, it really doesn't matter if that's a thing. But not every situation can apply that. You kind of have to build around that. You gotta have to build around his that negative aspect. That minus 25. It was either number minus 25 or 20% life. You can play around with that. You can do like someone with AoE shields. You could totally do that. Trilops is a great example because he can do an attack plus give a shield randomly, and he can possibly give that shield to Super Tomato. He can possibly do that. He also have AoE shields and stuff like that. Sorry if that's really annoying you if I'm saying stuff like that. A tomb also works really great with this guy. Just you can build around that negative aspect. I think maybe some people might actually think he's really bad just because of that, that health hazard he has. And I don't think you should be bothered by it. I really don't. Because all of his other moves are actually really great. They combo really nicely. He has an AoE damage reduction. Now, a lot of people, like in terms of a beat stick competitive scene, this move is absolutely worthless. Again, we're going back to PvP arena. Not many people in, like the competitive aspect, two worlds. And beat stick play, that's pretty worthless. Like the community competitive scene, that's actually, it can be really nice. You can build around it. You can stop AoE double damage buff essentially, which I think is really great. I think that also, like, people might also think that hurts it, but you get to choose when do you want to use it, so you can use it on the right moments. You use this move on the right times where you don't want something to have double damage up. That's the only time you ever use it. I think it's pretty critical, because once you get hit by a double damage move from the attacker, you're dead. You're so unbelievably dead at this point. He has a single target, 2-turn possession. This is huge. Essentially, he can make a 3v3 fight turn into a 4v2 fight with a single move, and that's really great. A lot of people usually run things like Uru, or like Pixie Lion. Pixie Lion on a defensive team. Usually, you don't see it too often, but you can see the occasional Pixie Lion and or Uru, and you can bring him to those fights. You can bring him to any fight, but isn't immune to possession pretty much, and he excels pretty great at it. Oh, what else is there to talk about? Super Tomato. He's actually a reference to the upcoming last episode of the Magic Tomato series on Vanus's channel, or Vanos channel. It's really funny. It's really cool. I haven't watched. Of course, it's not out yet, but the series so far is actually really funny. That guy referenced that specifically, and it's pretty great. Now we're going to talk about the last choice you may possibly get for this event, and that's Wildcat. That's right, guys. You can possibly collect all of the cells of Wildcat and make Wildcat. Now, that's totally dependent on... Let's see, this is 20, and then the other one's 30. That's totally dependent on if the last, like the slot here on Super Tomato slot, has 50 cells. That's a huge difference. That is a very huge difference. You will absolutely need 20 Electrium in order to to create an egg. If you're just wanting to create an egg for a Wildcat, if you're just planning on getting Wildcat so you can have him, you totally need 20 Electrium in order to do that. Because you currently can just buy yourselves in the shop. Until he'll probably come out, in all honesty, he'll probably come out in a cell shop in the next one. And you can stock up on cells then. You can totally do that. Or, you can wait for that time. I don't know if there's going to be a cell event, cell event during this week, but maybe next week or the week after. That's a possibility. You can totally wait for that then too. But, just kind of wait on it. So is Wildcat good? That's probably a good question. You probably are wondering. Wildcat does a lot of single target damage. You mainly use him for the single target moves. He's got a single target stun. He's got two special damaging moves meant for use on the Earth monster. And he has a spammable 65 damage move. He does respectable single target damage. I'm not saying he's like the best one, but he's an alright monster. He's the only monster in the game currently. He's probably one of the very few that do this, if not the only, that has a 25% health loss on everyone. Everybody loses 25% life. This is huge. I think it was either 25 or 20%. I'm pretty sure it was 25. But yeah, everybody loses 25%. Does not matter. It's a guaranteed, the additional the initial damage plus another 25% of the health. This is huge. This is heavy on tank monsters, specifically his kind, because you're taking 25%. So if they're really low on life, or the earth damage wasn't enough to kill them, that 25% will. That if they're under 25% health, you kill them at this point. You just have. The animation, I will say the animation's just really stupid. He punches the ground, that's it. It's not the best, prettiest animation in the game. But yeah, that is your fourth choice. If you didn't like any of these monsters, that's your fourth choice. You may go after wildcat cells. Now, what am I gonna do for this event? I gonna wait till the last minute. You always spend your coins at the last day. Don't ever spend your coins early unless you for sure want something and you just plan on getting that. But I think the best way of doing it is making sure it's the last day. See where you're at. If you don't have enough for singularious, if you know you don't have enough for singularious, what you should totally do is just go after either wildcat cells. Well, I guess that's about it, unless you want grid dawn, unless you really wanted grid dawn. If you can get super tomato, if you wanted to for sure answer if he was all right to use or really great, I think he is really great. I don't know how he plays in beat 'em up meta though. I really don't. And like community competitive, he probably works really well. Not probably. He does work really well in just universal community competitive. And beat stick competitive, I don't know. I really don't know. Because usually the beat stick competitive scene is usually all speed runes, a strength and 2 speed, or 2 strength and a speed. That's pretty much it. That's the only time. That's the only runes like in terms of just like beat 'em up and beat 'em up play. You usually just do AoE deny, and then AoE damage. Essentially anything that doesn't do this plus anything else. If it doesn't do special stuff like AoE stamina drain, AoE 100% shields, or anything that's not really strong, they use the best stuff. And beat 'em up competitive play, they only use the best stuff. They only use the things that really really shine. Everything else can just screw themselves apparently. Like in that sense of like competitive scene. I like that. In that area of competitive play. They only use the best stuff in that scene. They only use the best stuff. Those are the two. There are two kinds of competitive players. One that's really open to virtually anything, and two they're only accepting to a specific method. And I'll talk about that method in a video in the future. But basically, it's the PvP arena method where you just deny and then do like a double damage buff. So their most popular choices are usually Barbato, Shalinar, Razul. All those monsters that do huge amounts of burst damage, and they only run the highest of runes. That kind of competitive scene. I'll touch bases on that again later. But yeah, that's everything you need to know about the 72-hour event challenge. If you have any questions, please leave them in the comments section below. I'll be happy to answer them. I'm Did the Awesome. I'll get you guys later.